All right, it started recording. Okay. Well, why don't we get started? I just have a couple of little notes, and then I'll introduce our two speakers for tonight. So first of all, I wanted to thank everybody for attending both in person and virtually for the Surviving and Thriving as a First-Year Professor talk. And I also wanted to mention that we will have a couple of upcoming events for AMD GSA. The first one would be, we're going to be having lunch in the tea room on March 24th. That's at 11:50 a.m. to 1 p.m. So if people are interested in taking part in that, they can just send us an email and we'll reserve a spot. And then the other thing I wanted to remind people about is that we are having elections in April. We don't have the date nailed down yet, but we should very soon. And we are definitely encouraging anybody who is interested in serving with the group as an officer to get in touch with any of the current officers. I believe there are about 3 of the 5 people who probably will be graduated by the end of the summer at the very latest. So we definitely are encouraging everybody to get involved, whether you are on campus or being a student, as a hybrid or distance student. We would love to have you. So if you have any questions about that, again, get in touch with me or any of the other officers. So any questions about that? Look at the gallery. Are we good? Okay. Amrut, did you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay, well, let me introduce you first, Amrut. Amrut Sadekar is an assistant professor in the Department of Consumer and Design Sciences at Auburn University. His research focuses include retailing, consumer behavior, and sustainability. Go ahead, Amrut.
Thank you, Aryan. Thank you so much. Okay, can you hear me properly, all of you? Okay, just wanted to make sure. Well, I think Aryan already introduced me, so I'm not going into more details of myself as such. But just to give you a little bit of background, I was at Iowa State earlier. I graduated from Iowa State in 2014, and I worked at ISU for 1 year as a lecturer, and then I joined at Auburn as an assistant professor in fall 2015. So that's a little bit of me, my connection with ISU. So because today's talk or today's discussion, I would say, is focused on surviving and thriving during your first year as a professor, I'm just only going to focus on this one particular aspect, but going into more details of it, because I'm sure there might be some other sessions you had where you were focusing on professional development or what you need to do as a PhD student, all those things. But this particular today's discussion is more focused on once you join a particular institute, what you should be doing, or at least what I have been doing in last 1.5 years. So I'm going to focus my discussion on that one. So my understanding is for next 10-15 minutes, I'm going to talk whatever I want to, and then Sarah is going to talk about her experiences, and then we will have a question answer session. Is that correct, Aryan?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So to give a little bit of background about Auburn and how it connects with ISU. So ISU and Auburn both are land grant institutes. So for me, it was a smoother transition when I joined Auburn, because most of the resources and kind of the systems or the processes in both institutes are very similar. But whatever I'm going to say is from the perspective of my experiences at Auburn. It might not necessarily apply to you, because some of you may actually join more research institutes, research focused institutes, or just only teaching focused institutes. So it might be a little different when you are going to kind of take away some of the points from my discussion here. So one of the first things which I did after joining here, because my job responsibility is focused on three different aspects, which is teaching, research, and service. So, and it's going to vary where you join, which institute you join. But the first thing you need to get clear that what are the expectations from a particular department or from a particular university in terms of teaching, research, and service. So in my case, if you look at the percentage, I have 70% teaching, 25% research, and 5% service. And then the main discussion should happen as you join. What are the expectations for each of these three components? So in terms of research, what is expected from the department when it says 25%? When it comes to teaching, what are the expectations when it says 70%? So the first thing I did when I joined here in the first semester early on, I met with all the tenured faculty members and as well as department head several times just to get to know the expectations in terms of teaching, research, and service. And just to get the clarity in terms of what we call it as promotion and tenure document, so PNT, what is listed there and how it translates into the actual expectations, what needs to be done, all those things. So my advice on that one will be, once you join a particular institute, get clarity on expectations related to research, teaching, and service. Okay. Now, going into more details of all these three components, I'll just briefly talk about what I did, which kind of helped me. So in terms of teaching, usually you will be asked to teach particular classes which the department needs you to teach. Rarely will be the case that you are going to develop a new course in your first semester. Okay? So what I did was I reached out to the faculty members who were teaching those courses earlier to me, and just had a discussion with them or asked them the materials if they can share. Okay. I was lucky enough that they shared their materials, almost most of it. So that helped me. It might not be necessarily a case with all of you that when you want materials, you will be getting it from earlier faculty. But if you just get any idea what that class was earlier than what you are going to teach, that's going to give you good enough kind of a starting foundation. And it is very important to get to know the class you are going to teach, because even though you are going to teach that particular class on your own, it's still part of the departmental curriculum. So what I mean is that, for example, your department may have particular learning outcomes as a program learning outcomes, but then your class is going to focus on few of those, maybe 3 or 4 out of 20. And then it's your responsibility actually to kind of meet all those learning outcomes through your course. So you want to have that flexibility and freedom, but at the same time, you are also meeting the expectations of the departmental curriculum. Okay. So having that conversation with other faculty members is very, very crucial. And then it kind of relates to assessment and some other things which we can go into more details, but right now I won't talk about it. Then related to teaching, I was part of the video center, which is very similar to what ISU has, like Center for Learning and Teaching, CELT, right? Okay. So I was part of that in the first year as a new faculty scholars program, and that program actually helped me a lot in terms of they had lots of professional development seminars for new faculty. And some of you might be involved with the PFF, which is the preparation of future faculty. But this program is actually, once you become the faculty and you are like tenure track faculty, what you need to do or what you need to know about. Maybe you are at a different new institute, so you don't know what resources are available there. So it just helps a lot. So finding that one particular kind of center which helps you with teaching and learning is very crucial. I did that. I was benefited a lot from that. And one of the sessions we had in the new faculty scholars program was related to um, promotion and tenure. So the associate provost, he came to our one of the meetings and he shared lots of insight in terms of the promotion and tenure. So associate, he actually went through kind of 800 promotion and tenure documents, so he knows everything pretty much in various fields. So having that one resource, which is the Center for Excellence in Learning and Teaching, is going to help you. There is some noise. That's fine. Okay. Should I continue?
Go ahead.
Okay. A couple of other things which I did in my last 1.5 years is through that center, we also have mid-semester feedback. So they do mid-semester feedback. So just trying to get to know what students are thinking in terms of what you are doing in your classes. It's a confidential and anonymous kind of review process. They do it, they come to your class, they observe it. That's one thing, or you can do it just like an online survey. So that thing helped me a lot. So having that mid-semester evaluation or a feedback, I would say, from students helped me. Then we also have something else. We have the peer teaching evaluation. So one of the experienced faculty members comes to your class, they observe your class, and then they give you feedback. All these documents actually go into your file, I would say, toward your annual evaluation, as well as you go into your promotion and tenure. So getting all these evaluations mid-semester as well as end of the semester evaluation from faculty as well as the students, it's pretty much, I would say that's what whole thing is in terms of teaching. Okay. So that's teaching. And then going on to research, in the last 1.5 years, I just focused myself on the internal grants. And in the first year, I applied for 2 internal grants, and I was successful in getting 1 internal grant. The other was declined. And this year, I have applied for 2 internal grants. 1 was declined. I'm still waiting for the result on another internal grant. So in terms of grant, there might be lots of resources on campus. One of the best resources you have is like your associate dean for research in the college. She's the one to whom you can get a lot of information on research grants. Also, there might be lots of announcements in terms of what grant proposals are due and all those things. So you need to look out for those. And then talking to the faculty members in the department who have been successful earlier in getting those grants. That's what I did. And then I was again lucky. Most of the faculty members, they shared with me which grants they have got. They have gotten recently or earlier. And then some of them also shared with me also their proposals. So that helped me a lot. So in terms of grants, that is. And it is just, I guess, there might be other resources available in the college. For example, there might be someone who works on the budgets for the grants. So you need to find out that person who can help you in terms of budgets. Or because I don't know a lot of things, such as if you want to put some expenses for grad students or anything, there might be some calculations related to fringe benefits and things like that. So I didn't have any details, so I just contacted this one particular person who helped me a lot with budgets and all. I think that's what I would say in terms of research. And of course, working on the articles helps a lot too. So last year I was successful in getting a couple of articles. I think last week only, I and Sarah published one more article, so which was a good thing. Yeah, thanks. So, but in terms of research, just keep doing what is expected again. So that goes back to expectation. What are the department's expectations? How many research articles they would like you to have? How many conference proceedings or things like that? And the third component, how am I doing on time?
You're fine. About 5 more minutes?
I can't hear you.
Okay. 5 more minutes.
5 more minutes? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the third component is service. And I feel that most of the, as far as I'm concerned, because I have heavier load on the teaching and the research area, my service component is very small. But still, I have been serving on committees, mostly at the department level. I haven't served on any of the committees at college or university level, but I volunteered for some of the kind of shorter, I would say, services. For example, I served as a department representative for the summer graduation commencement, or I served as we have the student research symposium at the university level, and I served as a judge last year, and I'm going to serve as a judge for the oral and poster presentations this year. So doing small things like that at various levels kind of helps. At the department level, I'm serving as a committee member on some of the committees, such as graduate committee or mentoring and peers, whatever, assessment committee, all those things. But as far as the service load is concerned, it's not that much, and I believe most of the new faculty members will not have a lot of service commitment. If you're having a lot of service commitment on the top of your expectations for research and teaching, definitely there is something wrong. Okay, you need to talk to your authority, getting more clarity on our expectations about the loads you have in terms of both or not both, all the three: research, teaching, as well as service. Now, I will share briefly some of the things I have been practicing in last 1.5 years, which helped me a lot. And you can actually do it if you want to. You can maybe ignore, it's up to you. But this is what I have been doing. I write a daily journal, which is one short paragraph every day, just focusing on what I did that particular day. And it has mostly all these three components into it. Like if I talked that day briefly, how did it go? What did I do today in terms of teaching? In terms of research, what did I do? How did I spend my time today? It's a short paragraph. It doesn't have to be extensive. And that journal actually now is building up almost like I have 80 pages from like when I joined here. It helps me to track my progress, as well as it helps me to actually build my CV at the same time. So whenever I am updating my CV, I just go back to my journal. Okay, I published this article last week. I know the date. I know. I attended this particular professional development seminar last week. I know. I have the date. What was the focus? What was the topic of the seminar, or whatever it might be. Okay? So just it helps to keep track of your things. Also, it creates, I would say, accountability in terms of how you are spending your time. Okay? Because I never thought that I will have challenging time in terms of time management, but nowadays there are more things on your plate than what you can do. That's the feeling I have. Second thing I did, and this was the advice given by one of the retailing guru. I attended a conference, ACRA conference, one time in Miami, and then there was the Lifetime Achievement Award. Michael Levy, you might have heard about his name, but he gave one advice that you should go to office every day, and I have been practicing that. Now, your office might be anywhere. It can be actual office in the university, or your office might be office at your home, but then spend time every day in your office. That was the advice. So I took it literally, and then I have been spending time in office almost, except the weekends, usually on the weekdays. Okay. Third thing I did was I have been trying to do more proactive being more proactive than reactive. So for example, don't expect that as a new faculty, a lot of people are going to come to you. Rather than you approach people and then try to connect with them. So I have been proactive in connecting with people internally at the department level as well as externally. So I think that's third thing I did. Fourth thing, I made myself visible and available most of the times. Okay. So I think that kind of ties back to going to your office. So if you make yourself available and visible to your students and to other faculty members, your colleagues, and all the rest of the people, it just creates a positive impression, and then you are always approachable and reachable. So these are, I think, very small things which we can do and still create a bigger impact. The fifth thing I did was I tried to volunteer as much as possible whenever a particular opportunity was provided to me, but not compromising with other things always, because whenever you are committed to do something, I think what I do is, at least I am trying to make sure that I do justice to whatever commitments I have. And then staying organized is, maybe all of us are, and then but sometimes you need to be a little more organized. And the last thing I did, which I think is pretty kind of helped me and supported me, is I kept my roots with the folks or the relationships I have with the earlier institute, which is ISU. So we are working on some either grants, or we are working on some research papers. And at the same time, I try to establish and build new relationships. So keeping yourself in connection with the earlier people, which are very important to you, as well as at the same time building new relationships with the new people at the new department, at the new institute, or any other institute. So I would say, in a nutshell, kind of I briefed on all those three aspects and what I have been doing, but not necessarily all this will be applicable to all of you, or it might be blended or kind of modified to meet your needs. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Now let me introduce Sarah. Sarah Jablon is an assistant professor of fashion at Johnson & Wales University and a freelance costume designer. Her research interests include topics in historical dress and the social psychology of appearance. Sarah?
How's my volume? Is it okay?
Fine, I think. You're fine.
Okay. So my experience is a little different than Amrut for a couple of reasons. And I need to preface this by saying there is a member of my faculty on our video feed right now. So I am speaking, I mean, obviously anyway, but specifically from my own perspective. I'm sure that Diane has other perspectives because she's been there a long time, but I'm going to talk about how I am getting by in this. So,
and she told me I can't talk, so.
I told her she can't interrupt me, which she already just did.
I can't resist.
So, the school that I'm at is very different. I am at a teaching school that is on trimesters. My school seems to, well, I don't know about my school, my department, I would say probably the college that we're in. So I am
It's 8 o'clock.
Sorry, a fashion, merchandising and retail program in a marketing department in the School of Business. And I would say that the school is in flux. So when Amrut is saying you should find out what your expectations are, I wish that I could. I'm having a hard time judging what my expectations are. They seem to be changing them. Not just for me, but for everybody. So we are a teaching school, but they are beginning to want to emphasize scholarship, but they don't quite know what that means. And they're getting a lot of pushback from people who have never had to do it before. A lot of the professors, we do not have tenure. A lot of the professors do not have PhDs or EDDs. They have master's degrees. They are, I believe that I am the sort of guinea pig in that I was hired because I have a PhD and because they are hoping that I will push the department in a more scholarly direction. They're hoping to start an MBA program with a concentration in our field, and that is me. I'm the only really person who can teach it right now. We have 2 other members of the faculty who are in the middle of their PhD program, but I'm the only one with an actual PhD. So there's that. Like I said, we're on trimesters. We teach, by the time I finish this academic year, I will have prepped 7 new courses. So when Amrut says spend time in the office every day, I would kill not to. I am in my office until midnight every day. I'm really tired. Start our spring trimester tomorrow, and I am teaching 2 new courses. One that I taught in the fall, so thankfully, but 2 new courses, and one is very new. It's something I've never taught before. The faculty members that I work with have been extremely helpful. That is something you definitely should hope for. If you do not get given a mentor, I would actually recommend asking for one. And then for me, I am truly lucky because I have a mentor, and then I also have Diane. So Diane has been extremely helpful in navigating personal relationships, which is a tricky thing to jump into. People who've known each other for 20 years, 10 years, 5 years. That's been a little tricky at times. But they have been extremely helpful I've found that no one will say, I'm not going to give you my materials. Everyone will give you their teaching materials. The problem is how they teach might not be how you teach. And so it might not be as helpful as you were hoping it would be. But it is a place to start. I have found that while other people's PowerPoints and lesson plans aren't tremendously helpful, their projects are extremely helpful, even if you don't use them. Then you can see where they're guiding their class, and you can take stuff from it. Very, very helpful. So that is teaching. It is, I honestly, like I said, we don't do percentages. That would be extremely helpful because, but I would assume that they think we are 90% teaching, 95% teaching. Yet, they are starting to expect scholarship as well. So this is becoming a little tricky. I don't really know what they consider scholarship. I have just continued doing what I was doing. So I'm still presenting at conferences. I would say I am doing too much, which might not be a huge surprise for those of you who know me. But I would say 1 conference your first year would be smart. And if you could do it, unfortunately, ITA is in the fall. So if you want to go to ITA, you have to. But I would say don't go to one in the fall because getting that first semester down is hard enough without picking up and leaving in the middle of it. I am stuck presenting at 2 conferences, one next week and one in April. One I don't have a choice about, and one I just really want to. But so it's making things complicated, and so I would recommend you consider that when you are looking at what you're going to do your first year. I would also second Amrut, maintain your collaborations. They are a lifesaver because I've had no time to set up anything new. So I am only doing things that I've already done. So research groups I'm already a part of, partnerships I'm already a part of. My dissertation I'm turning into like 40 different things. I'm literally presenting, by the time this academic year is over, I will have presented my dissertation at 4 different conferences. And I'm not done. Like, I still think that I can turn it into, and then of course you have the research that you did for your dissertation. You don't use it all. Well, if you're doing qualitative, I think. But so you can, I'm planning on turning that into something else. Really, it's a lifesaver. So yeah, starting something new is hard your first year. Service, I second Amrut. You should not be doing service your first year. 40 people have said to me, we don't want you to do service your first year, and they mean it. They do, however, continually tell you what service would be best for you next year. So I have several people who are pushing me in certain directions. You'll have to decide if it's worth fighting that, if there's something else that you'd rather do that you think makes sense. Also keep in mind that whatever service, whatever committee you're on, you won't be on forever. So you might want to just give in and then you can figure out what you'd rather do later. That's probably what I will do. There's no point in fighting which the committee they think I should be on. But yeah, no, I've done no service this year. I would not have time. I don't have time to do what I'm doing. It's been really overwhelming. In all honesty, they tell you, for those of you who've taken PFF or have spoken to anyone, I've heard several times, they say, you know, doing your dissertation you think is stressful, but it does not compare to your first year as faculty, and I have found that to be true. This year has been much busier, much more stressful than the year I spent working on my dissertation. That was stressful, but it was all me and guided, and I could do it, and you know, I got my stuff together, and this is all, I have deadlines that I have to stand in front of classes, and you know, if you don't have it, you can't teach, and what are you gonna do, cancel the class? So it's been very stressful. We are also starting a new evaluation system where we just switched over to student evaluations online instead of on paper, and it has been sort of a disaster. I have never, so I've taught 7 classes so far, 4 first term, 3 second term, and no, I've never had more than 4 people actually fill out the evaluation. This term, 2 people in one of my classes, 2 people filled out the evaluation. Both of them loved me, gave me straight 5s. Another class, 2 people filled out the evaluation, hated me. I got a 1.8 as an average. So I actually haven't dealt with that yet because we just got it during the break. So I haven't heard what the repercussions of that will be. They keep saying that because it's so new and, you know, student evaluations aren't going to count towards whatever, but they also keep giving them. So they clearly think they matter. So I am a little apprehensive about how that's going to go. Yeah, there's a lot going on. It's if you end up at a research school, then you would definitely have to be balancing some research. But again, like I said, maintain those collaborations because getting time. All of our classes are small, theoretically, like under 45. We're supposed to max at 40, but it doesn't always happen. So we don't have any of those huge lecture classes. We don't have graduate students because we don't have a graduate program. So it's all us, and it's a lot. So I guess that's where I'll end and take questions. Sorry if I've depressed you.
All right. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah. So does anybody have any questions?
Great.
Well, I do. No,
You guys will be fine.
So work-life balance, how is that?
So I just got engaged. I mean, thank you. So I'm getting married in August. So I am not doing any of this summer stuff that Amrut is saying, and all the things that I could have volunteered for, I can't because I have to plan a wedding. So yeah, so planning this, the work-life balance is hard. It's hard. Yeah, I don't know how to answer that. It's really hard. Jeremy, my fiance, he's at work now. He works nights, so balancing time for us to spend together is tricky. It is really important to me. So I do try to shut things down when I can, but I also have to get lesson plans done. There have been nights where I'm up till 3 finishing a lesson plan for the next day. And so he goes to bed. Like, what are you going to do? It is hard. I do try to. Amrut?
Yeah, I can be actually. I attended one professional development seminar through our PDO Center, which is the Center for Excellence in Learning and Teaching, and that seminar was just focused on this particular topic, which was about work-life balance. We rather want to say as like life and work balance. Okay? And so one of the findings was that if we have a balance in our life, there is no need to have a balance between work and life. So I don't know how true is that, but anyways, so getting into more kind of details of having work-life balance, I would say, of course, you need to have your priorities clear in terms of how much time you want to spend on your work and how much time you want to spend on your life. So you cannot, and most of the times I believe if you want to have, well, I don't have a lot of life as such right now, just more of a work. So I'm not the best person to answer, but I would say in your work, if you are efficient and effective, and if you are in touch with the right people at the right time, you have all the resources and you know all the resources which can help you to improve your work process. That's going to minimize the amount of time you are spending on your work. And then that's going to give you more time for your life. Okay? But I think everybody's priority is different. Some people have life as a priority and then comes the work. Some people have work as their priority. But if there is an overlap between work and life, I think that's an ideal situation, which means that you are actually enjoying what you are doing as a work, and so it's not conflicting with your life. So if you have overlap between work and life, that's the best part. Not to an extent where you feel that you are hating your life. Okay? So I don't know how many of you are aware of this book by the president of National Center for Faculty Development and Diversity. She has written one book. The book title is The Black Academic's Guide to Winning Tenure Without Losing Your Soul. That's the title. So you're going to get a tenure, but without losing your soul. I think that kind of talks about having, to some extent, I believe, the life between the work and life. But I think she has pointed out, so even though that book is specially written for the Black academics, it is still applicable to all other people who are not Black. So brown people like me, as well as the new faculty members, okay? So that might be a good resource if you want to read that. I don't know whether you have been introduced that book in the PFF class or not, but in our the new faculty scholars program, this book was introduced. So it's a really helpful book.
I mean, I can say.
What's the name of that book again?
The Black Academic's Guide to Winning Tenure Without Losing Your Soul.
Say it one more time.
One more time? Okay.
Yes, please.
The Black Academic's Guide to Winning Tenure Without Losing Your Soul. That's the big title. And the president of the National Center for Faculty Development and Diversity, she's the author for this book. Her name is Katie Rockamore or something like that.
Oh, I know her.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
I can say, I mean, for those of you who know me, being social is actually a really important part of my life. Like I need that in my life. So I actually, it will, I'm sure, come as no surprise. I have actually spearheaded like a once a month coffee with the other 3 new faculty in the School of Business. So 4 of us try to meet once a month. We don't usually make once a month, but we have met periodically over the year. And I have found that to be, good. We're not, it's a nice chance to catch up and see how you're doing and how are you doing. And this is an issue I'm having, and does anybody have any ideas? So I do try to maintain a life outside of teaching. People keep asking me if I like it out here in Rhode Island, and the answer is I think I will next year. I haven't seen the beach. I live 10 minutes from the beach. I haven't been to anything. People are like, oh, have you done this? No. Have you done? I literally say, you just assume that my answer is always going to be no. I have not done X. I have not at times. But I think next year I will. And I'm looking forward to, but like I said, by the time I'm done, I will have prepped 7 classes. And I think there are only 10 or 11 that I can teach. So I will only have a few more to do, so it won't be as much. It can't be as much as this year. So I think that, and I think that's, I don't know, are you finding your second year easier than your first, Amrit?
Yeah, it helps because once you get used to all the systems and all the processes, and once you taught a particular class, then it becomes easier. Then you can actually, but the thing is that all the time some new things are going to get added to your plate. That's the only thing. But that does not mean you are going to stop exploring. So I think it's a continual process.
I'm looking forward to new things. I'm tired of lesson plans. Last term I was doing 6 lesson plans a week.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah.
So this term I only have to come up with 4 lesson plans a week. So it's like a vacation.
It opens a lot of time in your schedule once the preparation goes down because you have already taught a class.
So one of the things that I really wanted to do, are you raising your hand or are you just saying hi?
No, at some point I'd like to chime in when you guys finish your thoughts.
One of the things that I really wanted to do, it's something that I think is an important thing for me, for the university, is I want to be involved in university-wide committees. I want to get to know other people in other departments. Maybe I can do some collaborations. Maybe I can just make some friends. I want to do that. I do not have time this year. So I'm looking forward to actually being able to do that in the future. So it's an interesting, they'll force me to do it, but I also am looking forward to doing it. Megan, what's up?
I think I appreciate you guys sharing your perspectives. I think my first year was more along the lines of Sarah's. At the same time, my college, they had, instead of having a committee or service obligation, they had a new faculty institute. And so I went to that every Friday. I think it was one Friday a month throughout the whole year. And then we were assigned a mentor. So some things are similar and different, and each situation will be different. If everything goes as planned, I will be tenured next fall. I am at a teaching college, but I have teaching and service and then my own personal pursuit of my PhD. So it's quite a bit. I think entering, kind of almost winding down on my 3rd year, I feel like some of the things that you've been talking about, Sarah, they do just come in stride. I remember my first year, and I don't even think it registered, but because my regular load per semester is teaching 5 or 6 classes, I was working every Saturday. I didn't notice. I'm from San Diego, but I moved back to San Diego, and 2nd year I kind of came up for air, and I'm like, I see my family because they live here, but I don't have any friends. So it is gradual, and I think it's really worth the investment. But the idea is to keep telling yourself that it's not going to be like this forever, and that it does get better. And then the one thing for me that's also really helped, and it's why I enjoy research, but I'm really also happy I'm at teaching college, is it comes back to my students. Seeing them connect the dots, hearing their stories when they get concepts, when there's elevators pitch work and they don't know what to do because the class didn't explain to them what did they do when they sit at the table. And I meet with a student to go over that for interview the next day. That's what gets me happy. So I think it's like finding whatever what you can hold on to remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing is a really good strength to have. And but just, I don't know, just to kind of give you guys that I think it does get easier. I think you do take on other and different responsibilities. I'm a co-chair, and I will be next year as well for probably like our second most important committee under president's cabinets. It's a planning and strategic committee. Figure out your culture. There's a lot of tribal knowledge that however you're going to figure it out to make it a priority to figure out, I think would be my recommendations. And I do think we're entering our field at a great time, and there's a lot of opportunity for us having our PhDs when we finish them, or if they're already finished.
Great.
Are there other questions we can answer? Are you answer your work-life question?
Yeah.
Thank you both for sharing.
I mean, that's the point, right?
There is no work-life balance. That is the truth of the matter.
That's not true.
But that's what I said earlier. We don't have to find the balance between work and life. If there is a balance in the life itself,
Yeah.
then we don't have to fight for the balance between both of those.
Right.
Diane, you feel like you only work. Now I'm going to throw in some personal information I know about Diane, but you spend a lot of time with your family.
No.
Okay.
Well, we all need to find our own work and life balance.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, usually what I do is no matter what time I finish whatever I'm doing at night, and sometimes it's late, I still sit down and watch like an episode of Elementary or Criminal Minds because I just need that. So I do still, right now I'm going through all of Star Trek Voyager, which is sort of a terrible show, but I love it. So, I've been watching that usually because like I said, Jeremy works nights, so I go to bed while he's at work. So I usually do that to wrap my night up. So you find the things you need to keep yourself sane, and then you power through. And I do wonder, I mean, I am lucky because I have a friend. Diane lives here. If I did not have a friend, I would be very lonely. I was very lonely when I moved to Iowa to start my PhD, and I would be very lonely here without Diane. So I'm very lucky that I have a friend.
Oh, thank you.
I say it all the time. You know that.
I know that. Are you going to come with me tomorrow at 6:45?
Absolutely not.
So to add on to Sarah's point, I would say finding the support system will help you. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I really do recommend that you find people, like-minded people. If it's a house of worship, if it's other first years, if it's a mentor, if it's that will really, really help if you have people you can talk to.
Yeah, even your significant other, if so they know like what you have to put in for right now. They have to understand your schedule too, and be supportive, or you can't do it.
But if they're watching you get through your dissertation, then they're prepared. You should give them a heads up, though, that the first year is not like a vacation. You think. And I didn't get my job until literally I got the call offering me this job the morning of graduation.
Yeah.
So I went through all of spring semester not knowing what I was doing next. So that I was very stressed out. I didn't know where I was going, how I was going to earn a living. I didn't know anything. I had to go to my brother's wedding and have a bunch of people ask me what I was doing next. It was hard. So, and then you spend the summer packing and figuring out where you're going to go and how you're going to start. So it does not like, you don't like defend and then you're like, shoo! It definitely is like this ongoing train that, you know, I thought, oh, it's going to be so nice. It was not. It was nice. But, yeah, the day I defended, so I defended my dissertation and I got my congratulations, Dr. Jablon, and they signed the thing and I was like, shoo! And I sat down and I opened up my computer and I was like, let me check my email. And I got a rejection from a job I interviewed for. Like literally that day. Like that was what I opened my computer. I was like, I get it, universe. Don't get cocky. So it's the whole final year is a stressful year.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, for those of you who have a job and are planning on keeping it, that you do have that. That is nice. That will be a nice thing to know where you're going to be right after.
Well, and just applying for the jobs is crazy.
Yeah.
It is.
That's a job too. And then you have to take a break from your dissertation to apply for the job. And then if you get back to your dissertation, you're like, where was I? I don't even remember now. And
then they email you and ask you more questions. And then, yeah.
I will say this I found funny. So I am prepping for this conference I'm going to next week. And I'm talking about my dissertation. And I was like, now what did my dissertation say again? I had to reread my dissertation. I had to reread. I literally sat there, read the whole dissertation.
But you enjoyed reading it again.
I made some good points. But I had to reread it because it's been a year and I forgot.
What conference are you going to?
This one is a theater conference. This is the one that gave me the grant.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, no, they're a mess. They are a mess.
Where's it?
So I'm looking forward to. Actually, this will be the end of my relationship with this organization, and I'm looking forward to it.
You're not going to do anything else with them?
No, they're a mess. These are the people who told me not to apply for the grant, but then they gave me the grant, and then they told me that I couldn't spend it on things they had already told me I could spend it on, and I had to it was a whole thing. It's been a mess every step of the way.
Wow. But then you're going to pop culture.
But then I'm going to pop culture, and that will be nice.
Yay.
Although again, it's sort of crazy. I should not be going to pop culture. But I skipped it last year and Jeremy wants to go, so.
Other questions?
Obviously, if you have questions or if you want to know what it's like or if you need help on a course, email me. I'd be glad to send you my stuff.
It's 8:30.
So that's the thing I do with my computer. I set it to say each half hour out loud because I find that I'm at my computer for hours at a time and I don't notice time passing. So my computer actually talks to me. But yeah, feel free to email. I'm sure I speak for Amrut when I say we're here to help.
Sure, yeah. Same here, yes. I think that was one of the things which I found early on, that I was hesitant to ask people and then share with people, but nowadays it's more, I ask people whichever questions I have, or I share things with people, which actually helps me a lot. So even when I was applying for jobs, I didn't share things in terms of getting a feedback, I'm saying, but reach out to people to get a feedback early on rather than waiting on it.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
Pleasure.
My pleasure.
Thank you. It was so nice hearing from you, Sarah.
Like I said, I'm sure Diane has a different perspective on some of the things that I said, having been there much longer than me.
No, it's really, I don't have a different perspective. I was just going to say, like, I was talking to someone who's been in the department, I don't know, 25 years, and he has, if you can believe it, 2 new preps this trimester. And he's been in the department 25 years. And he said the same thing that you said, Sarah. He took material from someone else, but he's like, that's not how I teach. Like, she comes at it this way, this is how I come at it. And he's like, I gotta like figure out my own way to teach it, with some of her material, of course, but I think it's the same thing. I mean, I feel like, as you feel overwhelmed right now, I feel just as overwhelmed. It's just easier for me to walk into the classroom, but then I got to walk home and work on, all my stuff for class. So not for teaching, but for, finishing my PhD. So I just feel like the same as you, just opposite. And I have 2 new preps this try too. So we're all in that lovely boat this semester, or this trimester. So it happens, but one of them is of my own making, so I did it to myself.
She's teaching special topics that she came up with.
Yeah, I made a whole new class. Why I did that, don't really know.
And I do
to add
these ideas. Like I have a special topics that I think would be a good idea, and I have ideas for. And we're sort of, again, we're in trimesters, so. All these ideas that I have for like in-class activities and these really cool things, we don't have time for it because we only have 11 weeks. You guys have 16, and so it's hard to, but they still expect the same level of engagement and hands-on activities and not just being lectured at, which is great when you have 16 weeks because you can bring it in, but at 11 weeks, it gets really harder.
Yeah.
So I'm finding that to be a struggle, which probably won't affect most of you because honestly, the only other school I knew that was on trimesters went to semesters like 2 years ago. So
let's just pray for semesters is all I can say.
They keep saying they're going to turn us to semesters, but I bet they won't because it's going to cost a lot of money.
Takes a lot of work.
It's going to cost a ton.
So yeah, that's where we are.
Well, thank you, everybody. This hopefully has been recorded, so we'll get this up on the Blackboard site for people to take a look at later on.
Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. Thank you. It was nice seeing you.
Thank you.
All right, I'm closing off. Bye, guys.